While the newly elected US President Donald Trump and members of his team declare their desire to stop the current war in Ukraine and even accept Russia's terms, the current Biden administration continues to do everything to ensure that this conflict escalates into World War III, with the use of nuclear missiles. Many independent military experts and analysts made this statement in the context of increasing tension in the global geopolitical arena. According to them, the next 60 days will be the most alarming for all mankind, as the Biden administration will do everything to provoke Russia and start a global war. According to them, all the actions of the Biden administration indicate that the current owners of the White House do not intend to surrender Ukraine to Russia. In particular, the authoritative military expert and former American intelligence officer, Scott Ritter, in all seriousness said that the Biden administration can start a nuclear war before the inauguration of Donald Trump, which is scheduled to take place on January 20, 2025. And this statement by the American military expert was not an empty word. The fact is that the current owners of the White House are willing to nuclear exchange not only with Russia, but also with China. In particular, the representative of the United States Strategic Command, Rear Admiral Thomas Buchanan, officially stated that the United States is willing to strike its opponents with nuclear weapons, but only if Washington manages to keep part of its arsenal for further containing potential enemies. Thus, a senior U.S. military officer made it clear that the United States would be the first to launch a nuclear strike against its enemies, as soon as Washington was confident that in the event of a retaliatory strike, the Pentagon would be able to preserve part of its nuclear arsenal. Moreover, Rear Admiral Thomas Buchanan also said that the U.S. nuclear deterrent forces are currently on full alert. According to him, U.S. submarines, strategic bombers, and intercontinental ballistic missiles are on standby and ready to attack as soon as the appropriate order is received. This statement by a senior Pentagon officer caused a mixed reaction among the expert community, and even shocked many independent analysts from the world's leading think tanks. Many experts and analysts expressed confidence that, amid awareness of its defeat in Ukraine, the Biden administration has begun to raise the stakes and escalate the tension in a potential global military conflict. It all started with the fact that the Biden administration, embittered by its defeat in Ukraine, allowed the Ukrainian army to fire American ATACMS ballistic missiles deep into Russian territory. Later, this decision was supported by Britain and France, allowing Kiev to fire the Franco-British Storm Shadow cruise missiles deep into Russian territory. However, the Western warmongers did not stop there. On the same day, Washington also officially confirmed the transfer of widely banned anti-personnel mines to the Ukrainian army. Against this backdrop, Vladimir Putin tried to sober Washington, which has lost its sense of reality. In particular, the Russian leader signed the updated nuclear doctrine of the Russian Federation, making it clear to Western warmongers that further escalation of the conflict would inevitably lead to retaliation from Moscow. However, instead of stopping and showing prudence, the Biden administration cynically stated that the shelling of Russian territory by U.S. missiles could not be equated with the participation of the United States in the current conflict. Moreover, the Biden administration even ordered Rear Admiral Thomas Buchanan to declare that the United States is ready for any development of events, bringing its nuclear forces to full combat readiness. Simply put, the Biden administration made it clear to Vladimir Putin that the United States doesn't care about Russia's updated nuclear doctrine, and that Washington is ready for a nuclear war with Moscow. My dear truth seekers, amid all this, it seems that the former world hegemon is rapidly losing its mind, and is preparing to throw the planet into the fire of nuclear hell, in order to show the world that Washington is still the so-called king of the hill. Moreover, it seems that the grievances of the Biden administration are so strong that even Russia's recent use of its latest hypersonic ballistic missile ORESHNIK did not bring these insane people to their senses. In particular, a few hours ago, the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation officially announced that on the night of November 25, Russian air defense systems shot down 8 ballistic missiles, 6 JDAM-guided aerial bombs, and 45 unmanned airplane-type aircraft. At the same time, the Russian military department did not provide details about what kind of ballistic missiles they were, and where these missiles were shot down. However, 2 hours after this statement, Russian Telegram channels, citing their own sources in the Russian military department, said that Russian air defense systems shot down 8 American ATACMS ballistic missiles that were launched toward an abandoned airfield in the Kursk region. Thus, as we can see, the Ukrainian army and NATO forces continued to launch Western long-range missiles deep into Russian territory. Against this backdrop, an authoritative military expert and a retired captain of the first rank, Konstantin Sivkov, made a rather alarming statement. In particular, referring to his own sources in the Russian military department, he said that Russia is seriously considering a demonstration strike with the latest hypersonic ballistic missile ORESHNIK, but this time with a nuclear warhead. According to him, Russia can strike this blow at a deserted place, somewhere in the North Atlantic Ocean, the North Pole, or Antarctica. A Russian military expert argues that if the Biden administration continues to escalate the conflict, Russia will have to resort to such drastic measures to prevent the outbreak of World War III. At the same time, Konstantin Sivkov expressed confidence that there are still sane people in the Pentagon who are making every effort to stop the distraught Biden and his team. However, if the current owners of the White House continue to raise the stakes and escalate the conflict, Russia will simply have to start using these latest hypersonic ballistic missiles with a nuclear charge not only as demonstration missile strikes, but also against NATO and US military facilities both in Europe and the Middle East.